Hello, everybody, and welcome to Designer Discussions with Jason, Maria, and Miriam. Today, Jason is talking to us about social media tips for interior design businesses. Welcome to the Designer Discussions podcast with
Jason,
Maria,
and Miriam. Tune in each week where we talk about marketing, PR, and business advice for design professionals.
Are you ready to get serious about marketing your interior design business? Our Designer Discussions Marketing Studio offers a series of in-depth, actionable, and done-for-you content to guide your marketing, PR, and business development. We want to help you transform your business and elevate it to work with your dream clients. Go to designerdiscussions.com/marketing studio to get started.
All right. So this was a presentation I just completed about a week or two ago for the NKBA. I did a webinar because January is their month for marketing. So that's the marketing month for the NKBA. And I just did a webinar for them on the same topic. So I thought it'd be good to have our listeners hear a highlight of what I went over. Now, this was an hour-long presentation. So like I said, I'm just hit highlights on what I went over. And there are a couple points I went over on this, really understanding your why. And that's the beginning. So to start with, what is your why and why are you on social media in the first place? A lot of designers feel like they have to be on social media because other designers are on it and they say it's like almost a necessary evil, which to an extent that is true. But at the same time, what is your reason for being on social media? You have to find out what that is. And there's a number of reasons why you may want to be on it. Three of the ones we had identified, the three main reasons through research that designers want to be on social media. One is for brand awareness. Another one is for brand partnerships. And then another one is to make sales. I would say of the three, the one we heard the most often was to make sales. But I would say that is the hardest of the three to do. And because without having brand awareness, it's going to be hard for you to make sales because if you've ever heard me say, and I always say over and over, and you've probably heard this from other marketers as well, but for anyone to buy from you, they have to know, like, and trust you. And that's the brand awareness aspect of it. And if you do not have brand awareness, it's going to be hard for you to make sales. So inevitably, if you want to make sales, you have to have the brand awareness in there. And that's all about being social and active on whatever social media platform that you're talking about. And when I had talked a couple of weeks ago to the audience in the NKBA, I was not here to talk about one social media platform over the other, because that inevitably ties to the next thing I had talked about is knowing who your audience is. And so once you know who your audience is, now you can reverse engineer and see where the majority of your audience is on, what platform they're on, and that will help you determine what platform you need to be on. So if you're on Facebook, but the majority of your audience is on Pinterest, you may want to change how you develop the content for the Pinterest platform and then curate it for Facebook if the majority of your content is on Facebook now. Knowing your audience, that's vital to really knowing how you want to produce the content to actually be on the platforms. In the marketing studio, we actually have a client avatar worksheet. So you need to visit that to get access to that. So to help to develop who your ideal client is. Knowing what the reason is behind you being on social media, and then also knowing who your audience is. The next thing I had talked about was content. So with the content, one of the most asked questions I'm posed by designers is what to put on social media. What do I post about? What do I, do a video on or whatever? There's a number of ways. And we also have a sheet on this on the marketing studio as well. So make sure to visit that because we actually have a social media content calendar that lays all that out. But at a high level, what you want to know and be mindful of is that however you produce content, it needs to represent your brand and it needs to represent what your values are. And it also needs to be authentic. So to your brand, to who you are, it needs to be authentic to you. And what that means for you will not mean the same for a designer down the street. And when you represent your authentic brand, that comes across in the messaging, in the videos, or anything you do. And if you've identified your ideal audience the right way, it will resonate with your ideal audience as well. So having that in mind, there's a number of content ideas. I'm not going to go over that because, like I said, we have a workbook within the marketing studio that you can get access to that has all of that in there. But at a high level, I just want to talk about the content piece. And one of the things I had talked about also was analyzing your competition. This is one of the exercises you should, regardless of how long you've been on social media, whether you've been on there, whether you're new to the platform or you've been on there for over a decade plus. You need to analyze the competition and also analyze your own social media. What have you been doing in the past to see what are the gaps that you may not have done, and then analyzing the competition to see what's happening with similar designers and or similar clientele to you, and what are they posting about, what are they getting a lot of engagement from, and all that you can do, and find out where the gaps are so you can fill those in. Okay. And there was an exercise I had showed live on the webinar, and that was on Facebook. I'm going to explain this to you. So if you're on your Facebook feed, you'll see over there where you see the sponsored post. If you click on the three dots in the right-hand area, you could click on this and it'll show you, why am I seeing this ad? You could click on that and you could reverse engineer, and it actually tells you why the advertiser is advertising to you specifically. It could be based on location, age, demographics, interests, whatever. And so that gives you a little insight on why you're being targeted for that ad. And also you can look into that and you can look at their profile and you can look at their business profile. And then you can see what's called page transparency. So you want to get to the page transparency, and now you can look at all of the ads that they have out there. And so you can look at the ad copy, any videos they have, any ad that they've tried to advertise on Facebook is on there because that's all public knowledge. So that's how you can reverse engineer your competition. So if there's a designer that's advertising out there, you can look on their page and you can look at the page transparency and look at all the ads they have out there. And that's helping you to see, okay, what is the type of content that they're putting out there to their audience? Does that resonate with my audience? And so you can use that to almost help you create your own content for your social media as well. Okay. So that's what we had talked about with content. The next thing I had talked about was being social. So it sounds mundane and simple, but it's not, because a lot of designers forget that this is a social media platform and you have to be social in order to get the engagement and the likes and the shares and all that you're after, and ultimately get sales. Because like I said, in order to make sales, you have to build up that know, like, and trust. And that's an aspect of being social. One of the ways I had talked about on there was being a part of the community. So there's a lot of communities on a lot of the social media platforms. So whatever your interests are, finding communities around those interests or your design ideas or whatever that is for you, being a part of those communities or your local groups. I'll often tell one of the most active groups is the moms of fill in the blank for your location. Those are some of the most active groups on social media. And if you're involved in those groups, what happens a lot of the times is that they'll ask for a referral for XYZ. Do you know a local plumber? Do you know a local whatever that is? And if you're offering up advice in those communities, what often happens is that they'll want to know more about you and what you have to offer. And then that's how you could get referrals. I actually have a client that she didn't believe in that. And I told her to be active in one of these groups for a month. And after a month, she actually had somebody reach out to her because she was active in one of the groups and one of the members in the group asked for a plumber. And then she recommended a plumber that she used on a job. And then the mom loved the plumber, whatever. And then she referenced her. And then she actually got other people asking her about the plumber, but also asking about her because they needed some design services. And it was all because she became active in the group. She just didn't have the social media platform, which a lot of designers have, and they post, don't add value and are not social on the platform. So being social is a part of social media, which you need to incorporate into your overall plan. And so that's something I had talked about as well. And then we had also talked about the tools. So there's a lot of tools out there, whether it's a tool for posting, for scheduling your posts. We had talked about tools for analyzing the competition. We had talked about tools for whatever it is. There's a lot of tools out there, but knowing your reason why, knowing your audience helps you define the type of tool that you need, because there's a lot of them out there, free and paid. But some of them cater to certain interests or services that you may want to do, or certain industry types that you want to know, again, what the purpose is, who your audience is, and then what type of content you need to produce, because some of the tools don't do video as well as others. So if you're going to do a lot of video, you may want to use one tool over another tool. So knowing all the other things I had talked about your reason why, your audience, and then the content is going to help you select the tool that you want to use to get your content out there to the masses. So that was just a brief overview of what I had talked about. And we're going to do more on social media and on individual platforms to let you know how to apply this to whether it be Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, TikTok, or whatever. So we're going to get into that later on, but I just wanted to be high level just to share what I had shared with the NKBA community a few weeks ago. Feel free, if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to us and take a look at the marketing studio, because we have a lot of information there. Like I had talked about, we have the social media calendar. We also have the ideal client avatar workbook that will help you out with a lot of these exercises. So hope this has been helpful, and we hope to see you all here on Designer Discussions.
Are you ready to get serious about marketing your interior design business? Our Designer Discussions Marketing Studio offers a series of in-depth, actionable, and done-for-you content to guide your marketing, PR, and business development. We want to help you transform your business and elevate it to work with your dream clients. Go to designerdiscussions.com/marketing studio to get started. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Designer Discussions and all of the helpful information. Subscribe to our podcast, leave us a review, and share it with your friends. We look forward to having you back next week. For more information on the podcast and the marketing studio, visit designerdiscussions.com and follow us on social media.